So, international trade in principle, no, is similar to domestic trade. Ah, in principle, pareho mo itong demand at supply, etc. I-justify gani sa classical economics nga supply creates its own demand. So, therefore, kung maghimog supply, lagi na automatic demand. So, gi-justify karon na to by the classical nga lagi ng demand at supply. Both sides of the market, no? The product market, the resource market, and then you have the buyer and the seller at the same time. International trade is basically similar to that. The only difference is that there are barriers. There are so many barriers in international trade kaysa domestic trade. No, I will discuss to you later on what kind of these barriers. So, question is, why do countries trade? Why do countries trade? Well, simple, magayo. Uh, no country has all the resources, right? No country has all the resources, right? And then, no two countries have identical resources. Therefore, obvious tayo, di ba? Obvious tayo, wala resources nga nasa yata ng resources. Wala country nga nasa yung resources. Wala country nga have identical resources. In other words, gabari yun ang dili lang tao. Gabari ang country in terms of resources. Gabari po ang pag-produce because people bari man good. May line of skills, like talents, lain sila o concept of work, lain sila concept of leisure, etc. etc. So, people vary, resources vary, therefore countries vary in terms of resources, both human and natural resources. Therefore, no country has all the resources and no country have identical resources. Therefore, it is mutually beneficial for trade, for countries, for two countries to engage in trade because there are resources that are not found in one country but other countries have in relative abundance. Napoy country nga doon abundance pero wala po siya resources na nasa ubang country. Therefore, there is always what we call mutual benefit if countries engage in trade. So, why do countries engage in trade? Why do countries engage in trade? We know because of variation, no? Now, as I have said, in principle, mamaura man ang concept sa trade domestically and international. Except nga doon natin mga barriers sa international trade. What are those barriers? Well, there are barriers of IT or international trade. Number one, political boundaries, di ba? Usa ka nasod, big or small, has a territory. And because it has a territory, no country, nobody can just enter the territory without any legal document, without any legal permission by that country. Okay, nasa gitawag ng mga political boundaries. And because of these political boundaries, it's not easy to transfer or mobilize goods from one country to another because of political boundaries. Daghan silang mga balaod mahitungod sa protection. Daghan silang balaod. They have different laws concerning tariff, no, custom duties, uh, and so many things, no. Political boundaries. We have, well, of course, uh, atay mga natural barriers. There are countries where uh, it is not easy to travel because it is mountainous, or probably it is separated by a big body of water or ocean. So there is what we call natural barriers. That is why transportation here is very important. No? Shipping, pwede po sa airlines. And then there are superficial differences. Different laws, different customs, different traditions, superficial differences. No? So these are barriers to international trade. And we can remove these barriers by joining an international organization of countries. For example, Philippines is a member of ASEAN, member of ASEAN, but we are not a member of other groups. Like for example, nilita membro sa membro sa Katiyaga, East Asia. Ang member dari o sa member din sa Gatiyaga. Pero maglisod ang membership dito sa ubang country like Mercosur, dito may sa Latin America, or dito sa EU o European Union. So, ang purpose mo gudani ng mga international organization of countries is to remove, if not harmonize political boundaries, natural barriers, and superficial differences such that the flow of goods from one country to another becomes efficient and cost effective. So that's the purpose, no? So is it possible for international trade without any international business? Yes. Possibly we don't have any connection with capitalist communist countries like China. China actually dili mo gina siya communist. China is nanggod sila gitawag two China policy. One is capitalism, the other one is kanang dumala sa ila is communist. Siguro Korea. Wala ka tay link up sa ila. So katong medyo prepara sa ato o kahimtang ASEAN like Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore is a member of ASEAN, etc. So it's easy for us to trade with these countries. So okay, exchange of goods between two individuals of different countries businesses of different countries, to governments of different countries, etc. Why should engage in trade? Because no country has all the resources and not all countries have identical resources. Therefore, trade. However, sa international trade, there are barriers. This is the biggest problem so far. That is why we have international organization. Bago lang ang nakulap sa Doha round. Ito multilateral man to. World Trade Organization. It's a multilateral organization where all countries engaged in trade must somehow agree, no? Agree of the new ruling. Pero collapse man siya sa Doha. Na-collapse na siya sa Doha round. And then, ang una gila ni gawas ng United States. Dayon, balik ta sa ASEAN. Dili ta sa ASEAN karon. Balik ta sa regional. Instead of global, multilateral, di balik ta sa regional, mo din ng ASEAN karon regional na siya. Dayon, bilateral agreement. Although, ang ASEAN as a group, nag-adhere sa principles of free trade or kanang gitawag nimo principles of free trade, which is actually the same principle that the WTO agreement was figured out. But the difference is that it's a free trade agreement from among ASEAN group. Lahi na po sa EU nga kuan to avoid kuan mong kanang gitawag nimo cutthroat competition. So mo nang naingana karon. So in your muna atong libro book microeconomics ang gigamit karon. Pero kuan man siya, medyo na pagka-mathematical ani. All right. Now, ang fundamental basis gid sa trade is kini nga word scarcity. Kung na fundamental basis. So kung mo yung trade, there are two sides of the coin. The seller and the buyer. Or vice versa. Pwede po ang seller may mong buyer at the same time. Kay give and take man na siya, no? So, it is always mutually beneficial to countries engaged in trade in the sense nga ang scarcity can be avoided because you now have two countries sharing resources that are varied. So that is the idea actually. The rest are theories, no? For example, we'll discuss with theory. Balik ta sa istorya ni. Kining gitawag din mo og mercantilism. Kakadyo na. Okay, mercantilism. Long time ago, 17th century, actually, 17th century, mercantilism is a belief that uh, kanang gitawag nimo nga wealth is power. Is power. And at that time, the best form of wealth was gold and silver. So a country must accumulate, must amass plenty of gold and plenty of silver. So that was the concept of mercantilism. And the best form of wealth is gold and silver. So spread throughout the world and look for gold. And then mo trade man ang country, let's say mag-trade og tobacco, but tobacco, swerte lang kay ang tobacco at that time is saleable, halinon kay nga produkto at that time sa Europe, easily convertible into cash or gold and silver. So, pero mga produkto nga dili kayo ma-convert into silver or metal, gi-ignore, no? Gi-ignore na sa country. Unlike today, nga ang produkto dili ang policy maker ang gabuot ang mga consumer. Unsay ilang paliton, unsay ilang i-import or export. Sa to pa, nahimong ang mercantilist policy, nahimo ni siyang concept nga ang agriculture is nada nga walay nada nga industriya. Mas okay ang military because conquest means gold. Muna ang hinungdan nganong doon natay intercontinental conflict in Europe. So, dugay ka panahon, dugay pila ka hundreds of years sila nga away. Intercontinental warfare, gubat, hantod gani aron, no, wealth is power. And the best form of wealth is gold and silver. Although gold and silver are the best form of money because after all, that ma-translate mo gina into money, into silver or gold. Pero, it doesn't mean nga imong gold tanan, imong silver tanan, dili po kamo palit og mga produkto sa agriculture, dili kamo palit og butang lang coconut or banana, naunta may kanon nimo, wala lang gold ug silver. Pero long time ago nga na ang concept sa yan ang concept sa mercantilism. So muna theory, mas okay kayo ang mo surplus mo export kaysa mag-import. Kaya nga naman, kung mag-import ka, that means loss of gold and silver. Whereas mag-export ka means coming in. Gold and silver is coming in. And that's the secret of how to make a country powerful. Na siya. But later on, people grew tired of mercantilism and they come up with the idea of kining gitawag ni mo laissez-faire or laissez-faire. Laissez-faire. Ini, let us alone. pasabot. Di ba salon? People grow tired of restriction and prohibition in what they can do for a living. So, kung carpenter ka, you are good in making furniture, go ahead because that is an acceptable trade. Okay? Hindi tawag na mag-tools of the craft. Now, because of mercantilism, people grew tired of it. And one of the group that grew tired of the mercantilistic policies, kining tawag ni mo Habsburg Rebellion. Naguba gitong sistema na pulihan og laysapa or license payer. Leave us alone. Do not dictate in what we can do for life. Karon nagantag mga professional na teacher, na baker, na sailor, no, nagantag mga professions. Kani mga ko hospital karon dagangay ko mga profession oy sa ako lang dagangay ang doktor. Dagang kaayo ang mga dagang kaayo ang kuan. Kana siyang gitawag og Lysapa or leave us alone. Kanto ni come up ng leave us alone. It was an idea of free enterprise system. It's a system wherein people are free to do in what they can do for a living. People are free to engage in all kinds of business and trade. And then, mo lang concept karon sa bag-o na to pulungan, mga pulong. Gitawag ta nila. Mo siya ang Bible of capitalism. Dahil yung kanil, i-attack po na hindi. There has been an attack. Nagawa sa nila ang Karl Marx communism. etc. Well, I don't know. Pero nga na ang dagan sa istorya sa dagan sa history sa economic system of the world. We have socialism, capitalism, we have communism, tulo man na siya. So generally tulo ka basis, tulo ka klase. Tunay communism, tunay capitalism, tunay socialism. Ang atong system is capitalism. Pero today, daghang countries like Korea, North Korea, China, daghang kayo ang kating komunista, kapitalista sila niya. I want you to read about this for your own consumption. Sabay differential sa socialism o communism. Well, takanta mo kaming idea, communism is a system wherein ang state, ang gobyerno na nag-iya sa tanang property. Sa ato pa, walay private individual nga dunay property. Including they are property of the state. While ang capitalism is doon na tayo balaod nga gibatunan, nga gagsundon. Tanang property, except lugar gid sa strategic lugar ng mga property like state university, like kanang Bukidnon State University man na. Kasi pa na, mga strategic, minahan, ay, kuha na, state property na. Pero ang mga kihitugutan ang mga tao nga manag-iya og private property. So under the law sa capitalism, doon natay social contract gitawag og private property rights. So naay private property ang tao. Unlike sa communism, tanang property na sa gobyerno. So ama mo ang state property or walay property or ani ka capitalism nga doon gitagaan ang chance ka manag-iya og property. Well, depende na sa imong ideology. Pero sa ako, mas paspas ang ekonomiya sa kapitalismo in the sense nga ang tao na gid maning kamot. Maning kamot ang tao nga mo excel gid sa economic endeavor. Ano man, tungod lagi ana naatay private property, no. So sa socialism, it's gitawag nimo nag medyo dual, no. Dunay state property, labi na katong strategic yun. Doon na po'y private property rights. Example sa mga socialist countries, tagano kay socialist countries like abin mo ang Russia, abin mo communist ng Russia, no. So although Karl Marx ang ibasihan siguro na sa in the beginning, pero karon marag matawag gini mo sa socialista in the sense nga ay private property ang tao even in Russia. Okay, gubot ra ba karon ang Russia, no? Gubot ang Ukraine karon ang na pong gibirahan ang Belarus. Na gubot kay gubot kay kalibutan. So anyway, you are familiar mo siguro aning demand and supply. Anyway, ang pag-analyze sa pag-analyze gud sa ekonomiya, for example, no, wala pure bit ng kapitalismo. Kita mismo it's a combination of capitalism and communism. And also a combination of socialism. So sa ato palawar, na mix. So socialism, communism, capitalism, doon na po yung mix, no? Na usually, kung mix magaling, ang yuta, kipanag-iya sa privado, private ownership of land and businesses. Pero doon ay control ang gobyerno. Doon ay control sa mga pili matanan, pero some of the enterprises are being controlled by the by the government. Sa to pa ang private sector tungod sa iyang kadako nahimo na monopoly. Take note na atay mga antitrust laws kung monopoly ka. Kung typically large kay ka nga corporation ay mo take over ang gobyerno. For example, lana, petroleum, no? Some markets such as nuclear energy madaan istoryahan. Post office panalitan ka ng mga grabe itong tingkuan deliver sa sulat. Control ka na sa gobyerno. Pero karon makita ni mga na mga private companies nga nagpadagan og nuclear energy at the same time highly regulated ang ilang post office. Dayon na mga insentibo parehara gyapon siguro sa kapitalismo. Pero the fact nga na-control ang gobyerno, na limitation ang ilang incentives. Kunya giyon sa mga panggobyerno ang pag-manage sa enterprise. The same as it is managed by the private sector. Okay? The same gyapon ang pag-manage sa private sector, pareha ra gyapon sa capitalism. Dayon ang public sector, parang socialismo. Public sector is both private sector and government sector. Dayon, kung mix magaling, there is a continued growth, no? Ang economic growth is continued. Example of this, yung mga mix na bitaw, Great Britain, France, Sweden, and Canada. Muna siyang mga mixed economic systems today. Now, kung mag-analyze so, lain nga mga perspective. So, kung mag-analyze ng economy, lahi ang atong mga perspektibo. For example, it's either positive or negative. It's either static or dynamic. And then, ako rin ikan sa inyo kay okay. Okay. Kung mag-analyze ta, if it is based on mag-analyze ng economic system, for instance, or mag-analyze ng economic activity, for instance, if we look at it strictly from the point of view of science, it becomes positive economic analysis. For instance, you look at the price as determined by the amount of goods that is sold in the market in a given place, in a given time. From the normative point of view, dili man mo tanawon ang cost. Ang cost, no? Tanawan nimo kung unsay presyo diya sa may merkado. Sa normative, that is from the point of view of social standards or standard of the community. Then you have to look at the moral side of the issue, moral side of the economic policy. In that case, you are actually using a normative type of economic analysis. Dili siya positive. Now, most of our economic analysis are positive to siya static. Positive static. No? And then, nalitan na nato ang naay ng mga norms na to be satisfied and how the economic system behave through time. So kung ups and downs of economic activity through time, it's dynamic. So the equilibrium point, mahimo na siyang equilibria. So So dili siya equilibrium, kundi equilibria because there are many equilibrium points. From one standpoint of time, equilibrium siya, which is actually another equilibrium in another point in time. Sa ato pa, ang equilibrium, disequilibrium, equilibrium, disequilibrium, later on ay bago nga equilibrium. So we are referring to equilibria in a sense nga there are different kinds of equilibrium, at least in the short run. In the long run, kita gini mo nang gitawag nimo equilibrium point. That is from the dynamic point of view. Tanawon, dili sa static. Right? So, maran na siya og kuano, maran na siya og guide lang. And so on and so forth. Okay, good evening and thank you.